The failed docking attempt by Dr. Mann, Matt Damon, in Interstellar is one of the most dramatic and consequential sequences in the film. It happens right after the major twist on the ice planet. Mann lied about his world being habitable, faked the data to get rescued, and then betrayed the crew in panic and desperation. Here's a clear breakdown of what happened and why it failed. Sequence of events. Mann steals a Ranger, one of the smaller shuttlecraft, to escape the planet alone and reach the orbiting Endurance mothership. His goal: take control of the Endurance and fly it back toward Earth's solar system, abandoning the mission entirely. The AI robot TARS had already disabled the auto-docking system on that particular Ranger as a safety precaution when they realized Mann was dangerous and untrustworthy. This forced Mann to attempt a manual docking. Mann approaches the Endurance too aggressively and inaccurately. He achieves contact, but it's an imperfect lock. The docking mechanism doesn't form a proper airtight seal. The ship gives clear warnings, audible alarms plus imperfect lock alerts. But Mann, driven by panic, ego, and survival instinct, ignores them completely. He forces the inner airlock door anyway, thinking he can just board. Because the seal isn't perfect, explosive decompression occurs instantly. The pressure difference blows everything outward. Mann is ejected into space and killed. His Ranger is destroyed, and the explosion damages the Endurance, rips off at least one engine module, and imparts massive rotational torque. The Endurance, a large ring-shaped ship designed to spin for artificial gravity, suddenly starts spinning wildly out of control, much faster than normal, and begins dropping out of stable orbit toward the planet's atmosphere. Why the docking failed? Key reasons: no auto-docking assistance. TARS blocked it. Mann had to do everything manually under high stress. Lack of piloting skill under pressure. Mann is a brilliant scientist, theoretical physicist, but not a highly trained test pilot astronaut like Cooper. Real astronauts train obsessively for exactly these kinds of edge case failures. Mann clearly doesn't have that muscle. Judgment. But he has memory. Years of isolation, cryo-sleep, shame over faking data, fear of dying alone, and sudden hope of returning home completely overwhelmed Dr. Mann. He ignored alarms and Cooper's warnings over comms because he was in full survival panic mode. I'm not meant to die here mindset. Docking two spacecraft requires millimeter-level precision at orbital velocities. This disaster sets up one of the film's most iconic sequences. Mann's failed docking is both a literal explosion and symbolic. It represents how fear, selfishness, and lying about nature and data destroy any chance of survival. Right after Dr. Mann's catastrophic failed docking attempt causes the explosion, killing him, destroying his Ranger, and ripping off part of the Endurance, including one engine module and a cargo section, the Endurance is left in dire straits. The asymmetric explosion imparts massive torque. The ring-shaped ship starts spinning wildly and uncontrollably around its new center of mass, much faster than its normal gentle rotation for artificial gravity. The spin rate reaches about 67 to 68 revolutions per minute, rotations per minute, far beyond safe levels. The damaged Endurance begins losing orbital altitude and falls toward the ice planet's atmosphere. Without a heat shield on that section, and with structural damage, it risks burning up or breaking apart if it enters too deep. Cooper in Lander 2, with Brand, TARS, and Case aboard, is still racing back from the planet's surface in pursuit of Mann. He immediately shifts from chasing to rescue mode. He sees the Endurance tumbling/spinning and dropping. Case reports there's no point wasting fuel chasing shadows anymore. Analyze the spin instead. Cooper decides to attempt manual docking. Brand asks, "Cooper, what are you doing?" Cooper, "Docking." This one word kicks off the intense sequence, gets rotation data from the robots. He orders to calculate the Endurance's exact spin rate and vector. Case reports, Endurance rotation is 68 revolutions per minute. Cooper plans to match that spin using the lander's retro thrusters. Case initially says docking is not possible due to the extreme rotational mismatch and closing atmospheric deadline. Cooper replies, "No, it's necessary." He initiates the maneuver, spins the lander to synchronize rotational velocity with the Endurance. He lines up under the docking port. Once rotationally matched, both spinning at the same crazy rate, the relative motion between the two craft becomes mostly linear. Cooper positions the lander directly below one of the remaining intact docking ports on the ring. Final alignment and hard dock. Uses fine control, with help from TARS for thruster adjustments, to close the gap precisely. Case warns the ship is hitting the stratosphere and has no heat shield. In the critical moment, Case says, "Cooper, this is no time for caution," pushing him to go for it aggressively. Cooper nearly blacks out from the G-forces, but tells Case, "If I black out, you take the stick." The lander seals to the Endurance. They then use the lander's engines to stop the wild spin, stabilize the combined ship, and boost it back out of the decaying orbit before it burns up in the atmosphere. This sequence is one of the film's peaks. It showcases Cooper's piloting skill from his NASA test pilot background, quick thinking under pressure, and refusal to give up when computers say it's hopeless. After docking and stabilizing, they assess damage. They've lost significant fuel and part of the ship, but the Endurance is saved, allowing the mission to continue toward Edmund's planet, with only Cooper, Brand, TARS, and Case left. TARS and Case are two advanced, reconfigurable robots in Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. They look alike. They serve as key crew members aboard the Endurance spaceship and are explicitly designed to be reliable, helpful companions. The direct opposite of HAL 9000 from Stanley Kubrick's 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968. Precise description of TARS and Case. The more outgoing, sarcastic, and humorous of the two, TARS has a dry wit, adjustable personality settings, humor at 90%, sarcasm reduced to 60%, and often banters with Cooper. Physically, he consists of articulated rectangular slabs that can fold, extend, walk upright like a tall monolith, flatten for storage, or reconfigure for tasks like piloting or heavy work. The quieter, more focused, and task-oriented counterpart is Case. Case speaks less, prioritizes efficiency, and handles operational and maintenance duties. He has the exact same modular, block-based physical design as TARS, but appears more introverted and straightforward. Dr. Mann's failed docking causes an explosion. The Endurance spins wildly out of control at 68 RPM and begins falling toward the ice planet's atmosphere. Cooper attempts the impossible, manually docking the lander to the spinning ring-shaped mothership. TARS and Case are crucial to making this succeed. Case quickly calculates and reports the precise rotational speed. Endurance rotation is 68 revolutions per minute. This gives Cooper the exact number needed to match velocities. While Cooper pilots the lander and lines up rotationally, TARS handles precise retrothruster firings to synchronize the lander's spin with the Endurance. Case assists with positional alignment and continuous feedback. As the Endurance enters the upper atmosphere, with no heat shield on the damaged side, Case delivers the iconic line, "This is no time for caution," urging Cooper to go for the aggressive final approach instead of aborting. After lock is achieved, both robots help use the lander's engines to counteract the spin, stabilize the combined vehicle, and boost it back to a safe orbit before catastrophic reentry. Without their ultra-precise calculations, thruster micromanagement, and calm insistence on proceeding, Cooper's skill alone would not have been enough. The maneuver was mathematically borderline impossible for a human without robotic support. TARS and Case have no hidden programming conflicts. Their core directive is to assist and protect the crew. They never lie, never withhold information, and never prioritize mission over human life when the two conflict. Cooper explicitly trusts them with life-or-death decisions, disabling auto-docking to stop man, entering the black hole later. Their humor and personality, especially Tar's, make them feel like loyal friends rather than cold machines. They sacrifice themselves willingly when needed. TARS detaches into the black hole Gargantua to transmit quantum data. Case survives to help Brand on Edmund's planet. In short, they embody reliability, transparency, and genuine partnership, proving that advanced AI can be humanity's ally, not its enemy. This differs completely from HAL, the AI computer in 2001: A Space Odyssey by film director Kubrick. The machine had become a danger in the Kubrick 1968's masterpiece. To summarize and think further, let's say that the docking success hinges on a blend of expert piloting, robotic assistance, and unyielding resolve. Dr. Mann's docking fails catastrophically, resulting in his death, the loss of a Ranger shuttle, and severe damage to the Endurance, including a torn-off engine module and induced spin. Cooper succeeds against even greater odds. Mann attempts a manual docking after TARS disables the auto-docking system on his stolen Ranger to prevent theft. He achieves initial contact, but with an imperfect lock, a misalignment in the docking clamps that fails to create an airtight seal. Ignoring audible alarms and Cooper's radioed warnings, he prematurely opens the inner hatch, triggering explosive decompression. The pressure differential, vacuum of space versus pressurized interior, violently expels him and destroys the Ranger, imparting asymmetric torque that sends the Endurance into a deadly spin and orbital decay. Technically, this is a cascade of errors: poor velocity and alignment matching, no backup systems, and overriding safety protocols in a zero-margin environment where orbital mechanics demand micrometer precision. Facing a worse scenario, the Endurance now spinning uncontrollably and entering the atmosphere. Cooper manually matches the rotation using the lander's thrusters, with TARS and Case providing real-time calculations and adjustments. Once synchronized, relative motion becomes linear. He aligns with the remaining docking port and achieves a perfect seal despite G-forces threatening blackout. Post-dock, they use the lander's engines to counterspin and boost to safety. The key technical enablers: superior piloting, Cooper's NASA background, robotic precision, Case's spin data, and adaptive use of available systems, turning a damaged ship into a savable one. Mann's is a rushed, solo effort lacking tools and checks, leading to structural failure. Cooper's is collaborative and calculated, leveraging technology to defy physics, illustrating how preparation and integration amplify human capability where isolation dooms it. Mann's psyche unravels from years of isolation on a barren planet, compounded by guilt over faking habitable data to lure rescuers. His docking stems from raw panic and narcissism. He's the best of us in his mind, yet terrified of dying alone. I'm not meant to die here. This manifests as denial, ignoring warnings, and impulsive action, a classic fight-or-flight response overriding rational judgment. It's a portrait of human frailty. Ego-driven selfishness erodes teamwork, turning a scientist into a betrayer who endangers everyone. Cooper embodies resilience and focus, drawing from his farmer-pilot duality and paternal drive to save his children back on Earth. When Case declares docking not possible, Cooper retorts, "No, it's necessary," channeling determination over despair. He trusts his team, delegating to Tar/Slash and Case, and stays composed amid chaos, even joking lightly to ease tension. This psychological edge, optimism, humility, and relational bonds, fuels his precision under stress, preventing the mental shortcuts that doomed man. Mann's isolation breeds paranoia and self-preservation, a psychological implosion mirroring cabin fever in space. Cooper's interconnected mindset, family, crew, robots, fosters adaptability and courage, showing how mental fortitude, rooted in purpose beyond self, turns peril into victory. Metaphysically, Man represents humanity's hubris and existential dread in Nolan's universe, a cosmos governed by indifferent laws like relativity and entropy. His lie about the planet's viability echoes the film's theme of deception versus truth. Faking data defies the bulk beings, higher dimensional entities, planned for transcendence. The explosion symbolizes karmic retribution for betraying the mission's sacrificial ethos, underscoring isolation as spiritual death. Man's art critiques blind survivalism, where fear of oblivion leads to moral collapse, aligning with Nolan's influences like 2001, A Space Odyssey, but inverting them toward human error. This docking transcends mere survival, embodying metaphysical ascension. Humans bridging the impossible through love, ingenuity, and sacrifice. It foreshadows Cooper's black hole plunge, where he accesses higher dimensions to communicate across time, echoed here in defying impossible odds. The sequence suggests a benevolent universe rewarding cooperation, with the robots, anti-Hal figures, as faithful extensions of human will. It's a metaphysical affirmation. Against cosmic vastness, persistence and unity allow transcendence, tying into the film's quantum gravity motifs and the idea that love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space. Man's failure is a metaphysical fall, hubris clashing with universal truth, resulting in destruction. Cooper's success is redemption, harmonizing with cosmic forces through humility and connection, suggesting humanity's destiny lies not in isolation, but in evolving beyond limitations. In essence, man's docking collapses under the weight of flaws, while Cooper soars as a testament to potential, weaving technical mastery with deeper human and existential truths.